All right, so we've got the Blue Zerg player Infinity Seven.Sanddbox spawning down here on the bottom spawn of Kdaria, and he was a little bit slow to actually start that split. Oh my god, someone's spamming their stream link already. No Micro Win is actually one of the players on Team Metagaming, so that's so BM, but that's okay. We'll forgive him. I guess check out his stream, why not? But yeah, Sandbox is going to be the Blue Zerg down here on the bottom right corner of the map, and way over here in the top right of the map we've got Team Metagaming ReAP. And I'm kind of sad that whoever sent in this replay wasn't on referee. Usually we ask for the player replays so that we don't get all this chatter. So hopefully these guys kind of stop talking a bit as we get into the game. But yeah, so we've got closer spawn positions along the right side. Should be could be fast and furious game since, like you said, the spawn positions are a little bit closer on this one.
Yeah, and ReAP's actually sending his over down the southeast corner, so he's going to see Sandbox's base relatively quickly here. Sandbox sending his to the western side, so he's not going to have too much information, but of course the second Overlord will path that way. So I mean, on a map like this, I mean, ZVZ in general, kind of know with the metagame, do you think players will go for, the hatchery first, the really aggressive macro style, transitioning into maybe some sort of two-base play? Or do you think they're going to play more defensive and focus on building up one-base tech?
Well, I'm not sure how familiar how familiar each player is with this map, or B, how familiar they are with each other. And with both of those kind of being more or less unknown, I think I would have to favor safer play. So, maybe 15 hatch for both players. Like, it looks like ReAP has already started building his hatchery there, and Sandbox just now planting his as well. So both players are going to go to two bases before any crazy aggression. But in general, I like to favor really aggressive builds. I just think they're more exciting. So if you ask me what I think they're going to do, I'm always going to say, proxy racks or six pool or whatever. But that's just what I enjoy watching.
Yeah. One thing that I've actually really enjoyed watching lately is the very heavy queen play in ZVZ. I know a lot of people were, had an issue after the patch with the queen changes and, different issues with that. But bring it back to ZVZ in general, a lot of players were actually skipping going for speed earlier on, getting a couple extra queens out, using them to kind of wall off, and then just kind of macroing up behind that. And I actually kind of like that because I felt like it brought more variations in ZVZ as opposed to just going for like quick speed off of two base and maybe punishing your opponent for doing some ingredient, getting banelings out or anything like that. So hopefully we'll see something a little more different than we've seen in the past.
Yeah, so far both players are starting off more or less standard. Not tons of queens or anything yet. Obviously, Spawning Pool just now finishing for Sandbox at least. But, we do actually have two queens start at the same time for both players. Everything is actually syncing up very well for both of these guys. They're at the exact same production. They've got the exact same supply. Everything is basically identical here. And the players are talking about how maybe they wish it was cross-spawn, but I will tell you, I think we do actually have a plan to get this map to be cross-spawn only, but right now with patch 1.5, publishing is incredibly frustrating. It can be a challenge just to get your map visible in the arcade or in the custom game player, so we're working on that. We're actually talking with Blizzard on a way to facilitate that a little bit easier, not just for us, but for everyone, because it's kind of iffy right now, the whole publishing system. But right now, I mean, these guys are discussing the potential map imbalance right now, how one spawn may favor another, but hopefully it won't end up being too big of a difference. Right now, Baneling Nest is coming up for ReAP, and no additional tech yet for Sandbox.
Yeah, and I like to talk about the maps because I mean it's one of the things where maps kind of get stagnant for a while. So it's really nice to see you guys trying to implement some new maps into the pool and see if you can maybe spice things up a bit and just leave it to Blizzard to make it even harder to publish new maps right now. But I like what they're talking about, though. I like ReAP's point about, or I think it was maybe Sandbox that said it, talking about the fact that he has to expand towards his opponents. And that's something that top tier players are usually the first to discuss. And did he actually lose an Overlord?
He did lose an Overlord. I caught it. The two queens down at the natural of Sandbox actually were both pegging away at it, and then eventually he just left it to the one queen to finish it off. So very nice pickup there already for Sandbox. 100 minerals and a larva is actually a big deal this early in the game, especially when no other real aggression is going on.
Yeah, and Reap's now building his first Baneling. I think he's just doing this defensively because he's getting a lair at the same time. So he's definitely shooting up with some way here. We'll have to see where is he going to go with it. Is he getting 2 additional gas geysers at the natural? So that makes me think than likely Mutalisk. But right now he's being kind of aggressive, but I think he's just kind of feigning aggression, trying to put Sandbox in a little bit on his back foot so that he can actually get this lair up and start his tech a little bit quicker.
Well, losing that Scouting Overlord, yeah, so this little Zergling aggression has 2 uses here. It lets him get some time for his lair, and it lets him test that front wall just to see if there's any spines or anything like that, because it's basically going to help him determine how many Banelings he wants to build here. Right now, like you said, he built 1 kind of just defensively so that he could poke out of his base safely, but now we've got Sandbox actually coming up with some aggression. These guys are just going to battle it out Zergling style for a while, but that Baneling is always going to be threatening. Oh, wow, nice little splash damage there from Reap, killing off a couple of Lings, and actually taking well, not even a supply advantage, just got the nice trade there for those Lings instead. But Sandbox not giving up. He didn't see any more Banelings, so he's going to continue running in here. This Queen is actually very low health already going down. The Baneling cocoons are going to block the ramp, but all these drones are more or less defenseless right now, just getting chewed to pieces by these Lings. One Baneling does go off, but doesn't really get much value for it. And is that a Spine Crawler in the back? No, it's actually the Spire already going up. So Sandbox getting vision of that before retreating out of there, and he killed quite a few drones. Let's look, 10 workers killed there for Sandbox in that first attack.
Yeah, and looking at resources lost, Reap is down about 700 resources total. And so, I mean, he's going to try and fall back on these Mutalisks, but, I mean, Sandbox definitely got vision of, as long as he, follows it up appropriately and builds a couple more Queens or builds a couple extra Spore Crawlers, he should be completely fine to be able to transition in the mid-game. And as we talk about that, he's taking the 3rd base, and it's just about done.
Yep, and Sandbox already has an Evo chamber, so spores are going to be easy. Was that a big Baneling blast that we just saw?
Yeah,
there?
I only got like 8 or 10 Zergling kills right there. And now Reap's going to be forced
to
no!
Another huge blast. Wow, Reap is just scoring huge kills with those Banelings so far, but Sandbox is really not relenting, just making pure Ling still at this point. 8 Mutalisks in the production tab now for Reap, so Ling, Baneling, Muta going to be the build order of choice for Reap, but he is already down 10 workers. He's down that Queen. He lost that Overlord even at the beginning of the game, and now these Lings are in here killing another Queen. All these drones at the natural just getting chewed to pieces. Sandbox appears to be on a slightly different tier from Reap. But these Mutalisks are out now. They're trying to thin down the Zergling count, but Sandbox is already in such just great position. All those drones killed at the natural. I'm not even sure he had to retreat there. He could have just walked into the main and done even more damage. But really, I think the advantage that he's pulled off so far is huge. Let's look at the workers lost again. 27 workers lost to 0. That's pretty good trading.
I think what he's trying to do with the Zerglings is he's trying to retreat to force Reap to play aggressive with the Mutalisk, and then the second he does is run in, because it looks like he's actually going back into the natural again. And there's a couple Banelings. Those Baneling hits could actually be huge. He has +1 armor on the Zerglings, so they're able to take at least 1 hit, it's looking like. And so now the Zerglings are going to go for the... They're splitting up the Mutalisk, doing a great job. Now he's in the main. He's down to, I believe, 20 drones right now, so this is definitely hurting him. Every drone is going to count for him. He has 28 at the moment to use the huge larva inject on it. And it looks like we have 16 Zerglings in production for Reap, but I don't think he's going to be able to maintain here.
Yeah, the Muta's trying to thin out the Zergling count here. There's actually some Banelings for Sandbox near Reap's natural, but they're actually just waddling away side by side. Oh, wow, 1 Baneling for Reap, just took out 3 for Sandbox. That was ridiculous. I don't know, man. I like Banelings. I like anything that they happen to kill. If they could jump in the air and hit those Mutas, I would like that too. But oh, someone was lagging. Okay. I thought he was telling his opponent to leave. I was like, oh, my God, Sandbox, OVM. But no micro win, I guess, was lagging the game a bit. But
Queens.
yeah, he's got 5 Queens right there at the front to deal with those Mutalisks. It's a little bit surprising. Obviously, the Mutas could just fly around to the sides, but there are Spore Crawlers in place already. So Sandbox, after doing tons of damage, has done the right thing here, not neglected his home defenses, and still has lots of Queens and Spine Crawlers. Lings are going to try and surround these Queens, but they're just staying in perfect health. They've got lots of energy for transfusions, and now the Mutas are starting to be focused down as well. Sandbox doesn't really have many any fighting forces here aside from those Queens, though, and that is going to end up being 4, 5 dead Queens there. All these Lings coming in. Oh, and Fester's already out on the field now. Not going to be able to do anything, though, obviously, without energy. A couple of Roaches coming now to try and defend against this, and I have to say the key point here is that the economy of Sandbox still was not hurt there, aside from that macro possibility with the Queens.
Yeah, and ReAP is currently down to half the economy of his opponent. Of course, Sandbox is on 3 base, and now he's got really good tech. He's got 1-1 on, he had 1-1 on those queens, which was just awesome to see. The Zerglings could not even phase them. It took them a while to actually chew them down. The Mutalisks are actually coming back in right now. They're very, very low, so he's not going to be able to do too much. Trying to pick off a couple Spore Callers. There's a Fungal. The queens are going to move in. Looks like there's 2 queens here. Another Fungal could actually finish majority of them off. It looks like Sandbox is actually going to let them get away. So ReAP's going to try to return home, but I really don't think there's much he can do at this point. He hasn't done nearly the damage that he needs to do. He's done a lot of damage to his opponent's army, but as you said before, Josh, he just hasn't done any damage to his economy.
Right, and if we look at the units tab, 58 drones still for Sandbox, 37 only for ReAP. Never managed to establish that 3rd base or anything. He's trying to get on even count now with roaches, but Sandbox is just way ahead on the roach count already as well. He's got 15 standing against none. So these Mutalisks are going to be handled by the Infestors, so that's really all the anti-air he needs. He's got Fungal available and the Infested Swarm Eggs. Queens are actually coming along for the ride as well. Since the distance between bases is not as long as it could be, it's really not such a horrible idea. Eventually he knows he's going to run onto enemy creep as well, so they could be useful if they do make it all the way over there. And these poor Overlords all along the way are just getting picked off. He's supply blocked again, 75 over 60, and that is just not a place you want to be in ZVZ.
Yeah, especially when he's trying to build roaches. Roaches get up supply so quick, and it looks like Sandbox is now at the ramp of ReAP, so he might actually push in here. Like you're talking about, the queens. Queens are crawling here. There's only 4 of them out here. Of course, they have 2-2 now, so these queens are going to be super duper strong. If he actually lands a Fungal, it'll be perfect, but he actually misses it. Still gets one of the Mutalisks, and now he's moved around twice the supply of his opponent. And does he have roach speed as well for his own roaches?
I don't... Yeah, I can't actually tell. Yeah, he does have roach speed because they are moving quicker than ReAP's, but here he goes up the ramp. All these roaches already in such low health after those Banelings, and now Infested Swarm Eggs are just creating a little buffer there. GG, well played from ReAP. Sandbox